Assalamualaikum to Miss Noriana. My name is Miza Amira binti Mahazir and I will be the first presenter for Record Center proposal. Our Alcea Record Center is a locally owned and operated food services achieving facilities specializing in the storage and management of paper record and other media for a wide range of business. And we also streamline office efficiency and increase valuable time while saving money when you use our record management service. So next is our vision and mission. Our mission is under any circumstances, we must always prioritize the protection of our client record. The next one is mission, to provide safe, convenience and secure record storage with 24 hours access. Next, our objective in Alcea Record Center. First, we provide our client with the best services possible. The second one, we allow for quick record searches while maintaining for the security of each record. And the third one, our client have always placed their trust in us. And the last one, we provide low-cost services to our clients. So this is organization staffing chart Alcea Record Center. We have director of Alcea Record Center. So the next one is Record Center Management. Next, the staff liaison with record officer, internal management, security and transport, and liaison with record center. Next is job scope and responsibility in Alcea Record Center. First is we establishing new record management system. Second one, we delivered and maintain and verify and evaluate existing system. The third one, overseeing the switch from paper to electronic record keeping. And the last one, we use writing report and publication. Record center requirement in Alcea Record Center is first our procedure in management of active paper record. Next, our procedure in management of semi-active paper record. And the third one, disposition of paper, electronic and film record. Next is our equipment in Alcea Record Center. First is shelving for arrange the record. The second one is fire extinguisher and hoses. This one for emergency case. The third one is fire sprinkler. This one for emergency case. The third one is curtain. And we have loading bay. We also have generator and others.
So next is planning of record center. So the first one is establishing an administrative structure. So when we plan our record center, the decision have been made on centralization. Means our record center is a single record center. We choose to establish a single record center because we believe that having only one record center allow us to attain the best control. As a result, it is now under consolidated management. So the local circumstances, however, must be considered. Next is location. So our record center will be on the central side and housed centrally. And for the means of transport, our record center has accommodation and equipment to facilitate large transfer of records. We have a weatherproof loading area, plenty of parking and space for large vehicles. Communications and technology. So our communication system must coordinate and facilitate the transfer of documents from agency to the record center, the transfer of record from the record center to the archive repository, and the disposal of records that are ready to be destroyed. Staffing requirement. So within our record center, there are 4 types of staff activity, which is the first one is liaising with greater agencies and managing reference services. second one is managing the holdings within the record center. The third is providing security, transport, and housekeeping within the center. And last one is liaising with the archival institution. Then the last one is accommodation requirement. So they are accommodations for all of these record center processes, which is a transfer of records, management of records, storage of records, reference to records, facilities for staff, storage and maintenance of vehicles, and authority services levels and costs. So, the second one is collecting information about record system. So our records institution will need to carry out a survey. The survey result will be used to establish rules for the retirement of non-current records from current system. Then gather information for the construction and authorization of disposal schedules. Also calculate the overall bulk of non-current records to be housed. And last one is calculate the rate of creation of new records by the various agency of the organization. Then the third one is deciding on a physical site for the record center. So the location of the center has been chosen in accordance with the organization overall development plan. The factors that we consider include cost, centrality, security, and the provision of services. So our record center is a high density and low cost storage facilities. Then constructing or adapting a building for use as a record center. So our record center is essentially a secure, clean, and sufficiently capacious warehouse containing an easily controlled racking or shelving to a good local standard. It is important for our record center to be high density. The object is that we can store as much material as safely possible in the least amount of space. This high density storage can be achieved by building the shelving stacks as high as possible. However, the local circumstances must always be taken into account, particularly if it is necessary to use pre-existing adapting buildings. The majority of the shelves in our record center have been set at a uniform spacing in order to accommodate standard size boxes or containers. Not only that, we also provide some adjustable shelving, as there will always be record that will not fit standard space. One limitation on the heads of shelving is the difficulty of accessing excessively high shelves. So that's why we also provide proper ladders or equipment. Shelves above 2 meters in height can be reached only if proper ladders or equipment are available. We have stack areas and also non-stack areas.
Then, Alcea Record Center also will conduct a pilot project to manage the records. We actually carry out a pilot study first before the company embark on any new system for the care of records. The pilot project's goal was to test the system's functionality and provide experience for the staff. It is ineffective if the scope is too broad or the task is too difficult to complete in a reasonable amount of time. Then, our record center also will establish a full record service. All records center services should be evaluated on a regular basis. Our record center will take into account the quality and relevance of all key components of the record center program, such as staffing, cost, physical facilities, and the quality as well as timeliness of service to users. Plus, Alcea Record Center will keep the records in different formats. Almost all of the records are kept in the record center will be in formats that allow them to be stored in standard boxes or bundles. However, it is likely that some of the records will require special handling because they do not fit into standard shelf spaces or boxes, such as plans, maps, photographs, and audio tape. As a matter of fact, it is critical to provide storage that is appropriate for the record keeping in the most effective manner possible to preserve the value of the records in future use. And the last one, Alcea Record Center will determine a plan for costing services. Costing controls should be applied to all aspects of the records. For that, our record center will provide a more cost-effective and efficient service for record storage, retrieval, use and disposal than a more decentralized method could. As a result, the creative agencies that use our record services required to pay a fee for each services provided. The chargeable services may include transferring records and storing them, expert advice on records management, processes and evaluations, after reference record replacement, and the last one, retrieval of records for consultation in the reference room.
Next is managing semi-current records. So the first one is a creation. So the creation of records can be defined as the production of any recorded information. So this is the earliest stage records comes into where the record will basically be an existence created within an organization or institution for a certain purpose. Within any company, they usually created records for varying reasons. Our Alcea Record Center documents all of the activities that we had done. We also create the records in order to use them as reference. So within Alcea Record Center, we basically created the records we want to use them as the reference and also for the future of the records. By referring to the records which had been created, we can use the records as evidence of their legal right. So, the people who can access it are the user who get the permission. Not only that, but the record created can also be used as evidence in whatever court cases. So basically, people can prove that they have the authority over some deal if they had the records that can support their claim of rights. Then our record center also created the records in order to use them as reference. In the future, we may not know whether certain people wish to request to retrieve certain information that involves first them. So if there are no records created beforehand, we will just not have any capability in helping them in retrieving the past information. So whether we want it or not, the record needs to be created since only with the existence of the records, we can access all kinds of activities that had been conducted during the past event. This is very important, especially for the newly appointed manager within an institution. The new manager may not know anything about the past event or activities that had been done by the previous manager. So, if there is any fraud within the management of the previous manager, they will also not do anything about it. So this is why the creation of records become really essential for the manager. By referring the past records of the organization, we can simply know about all sorts of problems that the organization is facing. Once we identify what is the major cause for the certain problem, basically we can plan for a lot of brilliant solutions, and that only can happen when the records are around. So next is use and maintenance. So here I got 3 points, which is systematic filling and classification system, the proper equipment, and also work and staff schedule. So for the systematic filling and classification system, in our record center, we are simplifying of file plan scheme. Okay, we also use easily recognized codes for all records. These file codes will be easy to recognize. We utilize numeric or alphabetic codes that are easy to identify or frequently used by end user as part of their business activities. Acronyms and abbreviations also have been used for easier to recognize if they are adopted organization-wide. Incorporate them as part of the classification code. Not only that, but we also create a cheat sheet for users to perform a quick analysis of the end user types of documents they often generate or receive. Find those codes and create a commonly used classification list for the user to use as a reference, or create a list for a group of users who shares a similar job responsibility. Classification provides the context of our records. Indexing of content or metadata is not sufficient for establishing the context of the records. This is important because we can separate records of value from records of little or no value. While the value or certain information can be a subjective matter and differs depending on the goals for seeking the particular information, records classification helps narrow down places where reliable information may reside. Subsequently, it adds searchability when there is a particular topic of records to search, but hardly any information other than a few keywords are provided. User initiated the research by identifying classification that may apply to that particular topic. Our records are filled properly and audited systematically by record manager. So the success rate for this methodology is often high. The second one is proper equipment. So we have the general consideration and also other consideration. For the general consideration, our record center is in a fire resistant or fireproof building and equipped with an appropriate heat or fire detection and suppression system, including smoke and heat detectors and fire extinguishers. So local fire codes and regulation will dictate the final choice of these items. Our staff will consider their specific needs, resources, and the range of system alternative before selecting one on. So we maintain constant temperature and humidity conditions. All window and fluorescent lighting in the archive should have appropriate ultraviolet light filter screen, particularly display areas and areas where recorded material is on open shelf. So our record center has convenient access to a loading dock and evaluator as required. For other consideration, we provide adequate space for staff and standard office equipment and supplies. For the work areas, we provide separate space for examining and processing records. So this area is large enough to accommodate large tables, computing equipment, and other equipment for processing records. We also have major types of necessary equipment and supplies are included a computer, word processor, printer, photocopies, and other electronic equipment as appropriate. Okay. Then for the work and staff schedule at our record center, the second shift position is from 2 p.m. To 10:30 p.m. So overtime is required when busy. Our responsibilities are to collaborate with team members, perform emergency equipment repairs, clean the facility and records area, maintain strict security of materials, ensure safe operation, perform all tasks without assistance, and mentor others as opportunities arise. Our record center is committed to a policy of equal employment opportunity opportunity. We recruit and hire applicants without regard to race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, age, veteran status, gender identity, gender expression, or any other factor prohibited by law. So next is disposition. So disposition is the key to an effective records management program in our record center. It can ensure that our records are present when needed for litigation, audits, day-to-day business process purposes, or historical research, but that unneeded records do not take up costly storage space. Regular and systematic disposition of our record is according to a state archive which that retention schedule provides evidence that records that no longer exist were not destroyed to avoid their use as evidence in court or to evade a freedom of information. Our good retention program is in place, including archive records that are identified early in their life cycle. A retention schedule are adopted and used in the normal course of business. Office retention schedule are developed and used and ensure that our records are systematically disposed of. In our record center, the electronic records are retained and disposed of according to retention schedule. Plans are in place to ensure that electronic records continue to be accessible following technology changes. This disposition is routinely documented. Our disposal of records includes the destruction of obsolete files and the transfer of record of enduring value to the archival institution. Our record center staff facilitate the authorized and timely destruction of records that are no longer needed. All the staff also take part in the process of identifying records that do have an archival value, which is the appraisal. In our record center, there are no records that should ever be destroyed without written and specific authority. In the case of record schedule for destruction, this authority comes from the disposal schedule. So we have action date and review procedure. So all our records are transferred into the record center and be transferred out of it at the appropriate date. The record center staff are responsible for ensuring that disposal procedure are activated and carried through at the appropriate time. So the action dates file contains the second copies of the transfer list arranged in order of the date of the proposed action. Usually, there are general types of records such as correspondence, which may include information on a range of topics from the mundane to the critical. These general records have value that is clear from the beginning, such as outline financial papers, which may only be kept for audit purposes, signed minutes of high-level commits, which must be kept permanently. We keep noticeable markers such as a color piece of cardboard insert in this file at the current date so that record center staff can turn at once to the record coming up for action. Our staff of the creating office or record center will conduct the review by examining the record files by file and deciding which file should be destroyed, transferred to the archival institution. For the review procedure by our record center, the first one is consult action dates file, then select files ready for review, and then identify boxes, remove the boxes, and carry out the review. Then we send a record center notification from to create an office, check if really a reply received. If the reply is received, carry out disposal action, and then we amend master transfer file and amend action dates file.
Next, I will present about controlling of record center. There are 4 main manuals used in Alcea Record Center. The first one is policy manuals. This manual provides management policy decision, resolutions, and guidelines. It specifies the scope and constraint within which certain policies must operate. The next one is Organizational Manual. This manual provides a full description of the organization, and this document explains the scope of authority and the interaction of executive. We implement this manual to prevent confusion and conflict among various people. Another manual used by Alcea Record Center is Administrative Procedures Manual. The Administrative Procedures Manual was created to provide answers to some of the most frequently asked questions about administrative process to employees. Description of numerous services provided, instruction for completing various forms, explanation of multiple reports distributed, and the record management policy information are all included in this manual. And this manual is created to standardize operation and clarify the established policies. Lastly, Alcea Record Center also used the Operating Procedures Manual. This manual contains all of the organization written instruction for its most important duties. It gives a detailed guide to all areas of operations. Alcea Record Center mainly used this manual to efficiently support new employee training. Promotional materials are the representation of our brand, story, and offer, and we use these materials as a way of communicating with our target audience. The first one is website. Our website have all information about our business. Visitors can explore the website for our services and feedback. We also share current issues regarding record keeping in our blog. They can also quote our services there. Overall, website is our main landing page. Next is infographic. We create engaging infographics that match the content of our business. Usually, we will share them on the social media or at our blog. Next is business card. Exchanging business card makes connection afterward convenience. We hand them out, attach them to our merch, manuals, brochure, and also leave them on the tables during any event. Another promotional material that we have is flyer. We use flyers to share information about a specific product or event. They are handed out at busy public areas, left on coffee shop counters, insert into shopping bags, put in mailbox, and sent out as emails. Next is brochure. Our brochure acts as a booklet for potential customers to open and look through. The purpose is to relay important information about our company as a whole and for a specific service. They are left in a brochure stand for interested parties to pick up. Another one is banner. We use banners to create an uplifting atmosphere at any event and to make sure people are aware of our business. Lastly is promotional video. We make our videos and post it to YouTube. We connect it back to our site by adding a link to the post in the description.